more menacing turn, where race has been introduced into the conversation, where sexuality is sometimes introduced into the conversation.
Now, we do sit at this intersection of culture and sport and fashion and music. Like, the WNBA players are really looked at now as kind of cultural icons.
WNBA Commissioner Cathy Engelbert just dropped a bombshell about Caitlin Clark that's shaking up the league. She basically said the drama and rivalries are good for business. But at what cost? Let's break down what this means for Clark and the future of women's basketball. Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So, did you click the subscribe button? Great. Thank you so much. Now, back to the video. So this bombshell is dropped by the commissioner, right? The really shocking part is that it goes beyond Clark. Engelbert's remarks may have increased the intensity in each rookie versus veteran game this season. How? Let's dissect it. With her recent remarks, WNBA Commissioner Cathy Engelbert has created quite a stir and has everyone talking. One would assume that the league's main focus would be on promoting Caitlin Clark, their recent superstar would-be. Not quite so quickly, though. Engelbert first raised an eyebrow when she made a comment regarding the MVP rankings as of right now. The person who has been lighting up the scoreboard, Caitlin Clark, isn't even in the top 5. Both observers and supporters are perplexed as to how that's feasible. And that's not even the most absurd aspect. The commissioner then made a shocking revelation on the league's rivalries. She said without hesitation that things had taken a terrible turn. Discussions on race and sexual orientation are being had. This is serious material that is complicating player dynamics. You would think, by now, that Engelbert would try to make things right. Nope. In essence, she remarked, it's acceptable for people to not get along. Hold on, what? Is she okay of veterans going after inexperienced people like Clark? These days, it goes beyond a few rankings. Engelbert's remarks are laying the groundwork for what might be Clark's most difficult assignment of her debut season.
And so we have that moment with these two. But the one thing I know about sports, you need rivalry. That's what makes people watch. They want to watch games of consequence between rivals.
It's similar to the commissioner stating, "Hey kid, welcome to the big leagues. I hope you're prepared for combat." Consider it. On the court, Clark has been so dominant that even seasoned players seem to be playing slowly. However, it appears that Engelbert has set Clark up for failure as a result of her remarks. Oh, you think you're hot stuff? The veterans may be asking themselves. See how you respond to some actual pressure? Furthermore, Clark isn't the only one feeling the heat. Every rookie in the league is feeling more anxious after reading Engelbert's remarks. It appears as though she's granting the veteran players permission to mentor the rookies and teach them the fundamentals of WNBA basketball. This is where things become really fascinating, though. Engelbert is not limited to discussing events that take place on the court. She is also implying the drama off the court. The arguments over sexuality and racial tensions are simmering beneath the surface.
A more menacing turn, where race has been introduced into the conversation, where sexuality is sometimes introduced into the conversation.
And the WNBA season hopefully will be too. But we're really looking forward to capitalizing on this moment because it is a moment we're ready for.
And now she seems to be saying, hey, this is also a part of the game. Take care of it. What does this signify for the other rookies, Clark included? They're up against more than simply cunning defenses and intricate plays. They're entering a minefield of rivalries between people that go far beyond basketball, contentious arguments, and possible confrontations. Are Engelbert's efforts aimed at hardening the next generation? Is she simply accepting the truth about professional sports? In any case, she is escalating an already hot situation with her remarks. In the midst of all this turmoil, Clark has been quietly advancing. Though she's putting up scores that would make experienced players cringe, she's completely absent from the MVP rankings. Is Clark receiving too little attention? Or is there more to this tale? Now, let's discuss Clark's game. This rookie is not merely participating, but leading the way. We're talking about assists all day long, 25 points a night, and making the opposition appear like they're trapped in quicksand. She appears to be playing chess when everyone else is engaged in checkers. The worst part is that, even with these ridiculous numbers, Clark's name is nowhere to be found on the MVP ladder. One would assume that she would rank among the likes of Breanna Stewart, Sabrina Ionescu, and Asia Wilson. She's not even in the top 5, though. Why is that? You may be thinking, Well, she's just a rookie at this point. Give her some time. The point is, though, Clark isn't acting like a rookie. She plays as though she has been in the league for a long time. Why, therefore, is she not receiving recognition? Some people claim it's because she's just recently joined the league. Some believe it's about making amends. However, it's obvious that Clark has an uphill task ahead of him. It takes more than just her on-court abilities to succeed in the competitive world of professional sports. Consider it. Clark has to cope with more than simply skilled defenders and intricate plays. She's entering a league where rivalries are fierce, where returning players aren't usually friendly to newbies, and where drama off the court can be just as real as on the court. Not to be forgotten is what Kendrick Perkins had to say about Clark. He underlined that her leadership is just as important as her stats. She's starting to lead in great fashion, he continued, and she's just not a vocal leader. She's a leader that's leading by example.
These rookies have put on quite a season, and it's not just Caitlin and Angel, Rickea Jackson and other rookies are killing it this year. I know after a long 33 years at Deloitte that you need three things in sports. You need rivalries, household names, and games of consequence. And
that is high regard from a former NBA champion. This is where things become really fascinating, though. What did the commissioner say regarding rivalries and conflict inside the league? They are more than words. They are preparing Clark for what may out to be his most difficult task to yet. It feels as though Clark is entering a pressure cooker, and everyone is watching to see if she will break or emerge stronger. One must ask themselves, how is Clark managing all of this? The expectations, the scrutiny, the pressure. It's enough to send a person reeling.
And now it's very clear that, thank gosh we did that. We've really changed the game in marketing and digital and globalizing the game. You mentioned expansion. Now we do sit at this intersection of culture and sport and fashion and music. Like the WNBA players are really looked at now as kind of cultural icons.
However, based on her performance on the court, Clark is not only coping, but thriving. She goes out there and proves her belonging at every game. She's leading the pace, not simply keeping up with the veterans. She seems to be trying to prove something, and she's doing it one amazing play at a time. But let's face it, things aren't always easy. There are obstacles outside of the court for Clark to overcome.
We have now about 17% of our players born outside the United States, so we're kind of globalizing our player population like the NBA and other sports have.
And the commissioner just went on record and shocked the world with what she just said about Caitlin Clark. Guys, for this one here,
the conversations the commissioner alluded to regarding sexual orientation and race, they are now a part of Clark's reality. She's negotiating a challenging social and political environment in addition to playing basketball. And yet Clark's game speaks for itself, in spite of all these difficulties. She is a force to be reckoned with, altering the rules of the game each time she takes the court. She is not just a rookie making waves. It appears as though she has taken all of the strain and anticipations and used them as fuel. Although Clark is a dominant force on the court, the real action is taking place online. There is an incredible social media tempest encircling her. Not only are fans commenting, but players, coaches, and even celebrities are participating. The real question, though, is whether or not Clark's game is being harmed by all of this internet discussion. Let's discuss the craze for social media. Like a completely new game, and Clark is squarely in the center of it. Her highlight reels have supporters going crazy, but there are also those who are attempting to bring her down. It's a crazy journey that never stops. One thing that's great about the league right now is that we do sit at this intersection of culture and sport, fashion and music, Commissioner Engelbert remarked. She is not joking. These days, the WNBA is more than just a basketball league. Social media is the main force behind this cultural phenomenon. This is the tough part, though. This attention has two sides to it. It's excellent for the Liga, on the one hand. More viewers equate to more followers, sponsors, and everything else. However, conversely, players like Clark are being scrutinized as a result. Consider this. It is you, Caitlin Clark. You just had the most incredible game. You're experiencing extreme happiness. Then, as soon as you pick up your phone, a tsunami of remarks greets you. While some are lifting you up to the sky, others are demolishing you. How would you respond to that? It's also no longer only about basketball prowess. Every topic is on everyone's mind, including gender and race. It feels like Clark walked into a pressure cooker with the heat turned all the way up on social media. Consider it. Every decision Clark takes, both on and off the court, is scrutinized, discussed, and occasionally disapproved of. One poor performance, social media takes off. One contentious statement, in minutes, it is trending. It's enough to send a person reeling. The absurd thing is that Clark appears to be handling it like a pro. She is not being affected by the noise. She's maintaining her composure, racking up amazing stats, and letting her play speak for itself. What's wild, you know? A few of the league's veterans aren't too pleased with all the attention Clark is receiving. Hey, I've been here for years. Where's my spotlight, is what they're thinking. In the league, it's causing this strange tension. Social media is the battlefield where the young blood and the old guard square off. Furthermore, it goes beyond Clark. The entire WNBA scene is evolving as a result of this social media tempest. Gamers are establishing their online identities and interacting with followers in ways that were before unattainable. It's creating new chances, but it's also making them more visible all the time. Recall that Engelbert mentioned the league's position at the nexus of sport and culture. It's happening on social media right now. A combination of social justice messages, fashion posts, and personal narratives coexist with basketball highlights. A whole new world exists here. The crucial question, though, is whether or not this is beneficial for the WNBA. On the one hand, it's generating excitement, drawing in new followers, and offering players a stage. However, it's also putting pressure on players, igniting debates, and occasionally detracting from the actual game. There is no doubt that the social media fervor surrounding Clark and the WNBA will not subside anytime soon. On and off the court, it's altering the rules of the game. Players are becoming more than simply athletes. They are role models, influencers, and occasionally scandal magnets.